The targeting of Donald Trump. Forget the legal niceties of his indictment. Democrats are focused on one goal: winning in 2024. When New York Mayor Eric Adams heard that Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was coming to the city for Manhattan prosecutor Alvin Bragg's arraignment of former U.S. President Donald Trump, he said, "Control yourselves. New York City is our home, not a playground for your misplaced anger." Where's he been? For Manhattan's professional progressives, the indictment of Mr. Trump was just another day at the playground. Politics as the American left's personal playpen probably began with the Occupy movement in 2011. Who today remembers what its point was? For nearly 60 days, the Occupy Wall Street movement took over Zuccotti Park in Lower Manhattan. I went down to get an idea of what it was about. It looked like a tent city for homeless but angry college students. After Mr. Trump won the 2016 presidential election, the New York left ostentatiously shut down the city's traffic during evening rush hour by marching or lying in the streets. It was of course beside the point that most of the people they disrupted had voted for Hillary Clinton. Today, climate change protesters glue themselves to works of art in museums. It's getting hard to recognize anything in our politics today that doesn't qualify as what the late U.S. historian Daniel Boorstin called pseudo-events, staged incidents that exist to attract the faux reality of media coverage. The Bragg-Trump indictment is a pseudo-event for the history books. Across the rest of the country, many in America's agog population ask, what has happened to our politics? One explanation is that the Trump faction and the Democratic left have become engaged in a relentless cycle of attack and counterattack. That makes everyone else a bystander in a melodrama of mutual destruction. Further destabilizing the system is that at least since the Trump era, the media functions primarily as a political spin accelerator that constantly rotates counterclockwise. Let's try to hold a few inconvenient truths in mind. For all the drama Tuesday, it was not Donald Trump's desire to be indicted by Alvin Bragg. Before this week, he looked content to spend mornings playing golf in West Palm Beach and afternoons lobbing Truth Social potshots at Ron DeSantis. But the media professes shock that he has used the Bragg indictment to raise more than $8 million in the last several days. Oh dear. Nor did Mr. Trump create the Russia collusion hoax that consumed most of the nation's political oxygen for nearly 2 years of his presidency. Or the impeachments. Did he raise millions off these pseudo-events? Indeed, and why not? Trump derangement syndrome is so clinical that it should be included in the next edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. But the Bragg indictment is different. Everything the critics are saying about it is true. It's a flawed interpretation of campaign finance law, it's historically unprecedented, and it smacks of political persecution. Democrats don't care. There is also this inconvenient truth for Republicans: Mr. Trump lost his 2020 re-election because too many independent and suburban voters abandoned him. Independents did it again in the midterm elections, stepping away from Trump-backed candidates. There is nothing deranged about what is going on now. The only political reality worth daily focus is that the Democrats are locked on one goal: making Mr. Trump the Republicans' presidential nominee. In that bloodless calculation, his candidacy is their best path to holding the White House, and then remaking American politics and culture for at least a generation. They want to expand conservative sympathy for Mr. Trump. They want to encourage the conclusion of some on the right that this indictment guarantees Mr. Trump the GOP nomination, ensuring that the same voters who defeated him in 2020 will do so again. And they will. Even if the Bragg indictment fades from the news, Democrats know Trump will be Trump for the next 18 months. Which is why Joe Biden is standing back, letting it rip, putting off his own announcement until the fall. To keep the embers burning, Mr. Biden will insert MAGA Republicans in every speech, just as Barack Obama ceaselessly intoned the wealthiest. The Trumpians in a white heat this week over the persecution of their guy won't want to hear this, but there is a surer path to revenge: nominate someone other than Donald Trump. He can't win. But another nominee almost certainly can defeat the unpopular Mr. Biden, and even more so after what just happened. Independents will never move off their decision to shun Mr. Trump personally, but surely many are acutely discomfited to see the entire U.S. legal system relentlessly bent to target one person. An alternative GOP nominee, with no stake in the previous 6-year political gang war, would run on the unsettled economy, historic inflation, ignored crime. The nation's other Alvin Braggs will let that rip, border chaos, a dangerously confused culture, and as of this week the Democrats' willingness to dumb down the rule of law by indicting Donald Trump in the progressive playground of Manhattan. The targeting of Donald Trump. Forget the legal niceties of his indictment. Democrats are focused on one goal, winning in 2024. When New York Mayor Eric Adams heard that Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was coming to the city for Manhattan prosecutor Alvin Bragg's arraignment of former U.S. President Donald Trump, he said, "Control yourselves. New York City is our home, not a playground for your misplaced